Explaining the beginning after the end power system. In the last part I went over important things about mana, and in this video I'm gonna go over Aether. If you haven't watched part 1, go watch it because it's gonna be important to understand this. Before we start, like, subscribe and comment below and tell me what other topics you want me to cover. Aether is fundamentally different from mana and obviously more potent as well. To understand Aether, we first need to look at the end of volume 11 when Fate explains us what Aether is. Aether is concentrated magical energy of living beings as they pass on, and is everything before life and everything after death. It is also explained here that it has its own intent as it was once alive, which is why, for example, dragons are having difficulty with it as its Aether's intent doesn't agree with the actions of the dragons to cover its history. There are two primordial forces in the beginning after the end, mana and Aether. These two entities shape the world. Aether is the foundation on which the world is built. Mary, when explaining what Aether is to Arthur, uses analogy of glass of water. Aether is the glass itself and mana is the water inside the container. It's impossible to feel Aether inside a physical realm, for example the universe, roughly speaking. The laws of the world are represented as the glass of water, which means that to manipulate the glass itself is to manipulate the various laws of destruction of reality. The two energies are manipulated independently. Aether is divided into three axes: control over time, Avum, authority over space, Spatum, and influence over all living components, including destruction and creation, Vivum. Aether is presented as unabsorbable, although Arthur or Arthur has the ability to become aware of the construction of the world and observe Aether, which is normally impossible. In short, Aether embodies the laws of the world, establishes the limits in which beings in physical realm are subject, enables and embodies the control over space, time and existence, as well as exists everywhere in the universe and embodies the foundations of the world. There is also the highest aspects of Aether that transcends the rest, which is fate. After Arthur's mana core gets shattered because of the events of end of volume 7, his body is transformed akin to that of a dragon race and has no mana core. So over time he is able to create Aether core, which even Asuras couldn't. Aether core lets him manipulate Aether and not just influence its effect on reality like dragons can. And thanks to his dragon-like, physically superior body, he can handle the side effects of using Aether as primary source of power. With Aether core, Arthur could absorb ambient Aether into his core. Aether core is not functioning at its full potential due to impurities that Arthur later fixes. These impurities are similar to natural limitations found in mana cores in their early stages. Just as mana cores have impurities from body that limit how much mana can be stored and used, Aether core is affected in the same way. As Aether core develops, same goes for the rate of absorption of Aether Arthur can do. Arthur forged Aether channels and tampered with internal conducts of Aether to control his output. Mana cores become lighter as they become purer, and that is biological mechanism compared to Aether core, which is not. Despite able to remove various impurities and imperfection from Aether core, Arthur was able to absorb it faster in bigger quantities, but no new stage has been achieved like with mana core, for example like silver stage or like white stage or like orange stage of the mana core. So Arthur had to form a second layer on his own. Arthur was able to forge a second layer of his Aether core, which is exponentially more powerful than its base. Aether even creates like third layer of the Aether core during the end of volume 10 to the start of volume 11, which again, like the difference between the first layer and second layer, is exponentially more powerful. God runes are special etheric abilities that allow users to control Aether in specific ways. To use a God rune, a person must gain insight either through personal experience or with the help of keystones, which create environments for insight. God runes not only grant abilities but also reveal their names, histories, and past knowledge from previous users. The appearance of God rune is shaped by how the user envisions the abstract nature of Aether they control. For example, Aether's destruction rune looks the way it does because it reflects his personal understanding of destruction. Aether, during his journey with Aether core, acquires God runes that give him special abilities. These God runes are: God rune of Spatium lets Aether use God Step, which is instant teleportation of him and his attacks to bypass any sort of defense, as well as spatial manipulation. God rune of Vivum, so Aether can use destruction, which is existence erasure, but Aether mostly uses it with Regis, as its more controlled version, on top of Regis possessing Vivum, meaning he can heal as well. God rune of Vivum, Realm Heart, which lets Aether, even after losing his mana core, able to perceive, sense, interact, and counter mana and any type of mana art. God rune of Avum, Aroa's Requiem, which lets Aether reverse and manipulate time on any inanimate object. God rune King's Gambit lets Aether split his thoughts into several threads in which he can think of multiple subjects at once, as well as increases his thinking speed and rationality, and adds resistance so he doesn't overload his brain, and even allows him to not be bound by inertia and is able to fly. These are just the most important parts of Aether of the power system. If you want me to go more in depth in any of this I explained, let me know in the comments and let me know if I missed anything. I could have gone into how cosmology plays into the power system, especially Aether, as there is entire etheric realm connected to Aether and how it operates, but I thought it would be better if I explain it when I do a full cosmology breakdown. So let me know if you want me to cover any of other Tbate topics down in the comments.